Ladies and gentlemen, champions in waiting, divine sons and daughters of destiny, this is not just another month. This is not another stretch of days on a calendar. This is your turning point. This is your defining season. This is the moment where prophecy and preparation collide. Because your victory starts this month, you've been through the wilderness. You've cried in silence, doubted in the dark, and warred in your mind. You've asked, when will it happen for me? The answer is not next year, not next season. It's now, because everything you've endured was not in vain. Heaven doesn't waste pain, and purpose never comes without pressure. But pressure is a sign that something is about to break open. Victory does not wait for convenience. It comes for those who are ready, and I came to tell you, get ready. Align your thoughts, speak with power, walk in authority, because your delay was not denial. It was divine timing preparing you for something bigger than your prayers, stronger than your fears, and greater than your past. This is the month where cycles are broken. This is the month when the chains of generational dysfunction shatter. This is the month when what was locked becomes open, when what was closed is released, and what seemed dead is revived. Why? Because you are not average. You are not ordinary. You are heaven's strategy on earth. You are the answer someone is waiting for. Your victory is not coming. It has already started. There is a shift in the spirit. The wind is blowing differently. What used to resist you will now recognize you. What used to block you will now bless you. This is the moment where your preparation meets manifestation. The doors that wouldn't open for years. This month they swing wide. The job that kept turning you down. This month they call you back. The relationships that drained you. This month they are replaced by divine alignments. But hear me, victory is not a moment, it is a mindset. You don't wait for victory. You walk like it's already yours. You don't beg for favor. You stand in it. You don't chase miracles. You become the miracle. This is your month to reclaim your voice, to reclaim your identity, to take your seat at the table of greatness and say, I am not who I was. I am who I was always called to be. Victory does not mean absence of battles. It means guaranteed outcomes. It means that no matter what comes, you win. Why? Because you are aligned with purpose. Purpose never fails. Purpose may be delayed, tested, hidden, but it cannot die. This month, your purpose is being resurrected. Your dreams are being reawakened, and your enemies, they're about to see you rise. Stop waiting for external validation. Stop asking for permission to be powerful. You were born for this. Everything in your life was training for this moment, and what you're stepping into will not just bless you. It will bless generations through you. You are not just coming out. You're coming through, and you're coming out better. So, rise with courage, declare with boldness, move with strategy, speak with conviction. The time is not someday. The time is this month. Your healing this month. Your breakthrough this month, your business launch, your restoration, your clarity, your harvest, it starts now. Your prayers have reached heaven, and heaven is responding with acceleration. What took others years will take you months. What seemed impossible is now inevitable, because this month your victory begins. And once it starts, there will be no going back. Get ready, stay ready, walk like it's already done. Your victory starts this month. Victory doesn't begin when the circumstance shifts, when the door finally opens, or when the external landscape changes. Victory starts in the invisible realm first, deep within your mind. Before you ever see the outcome, you must see yourself as one who is already walking in it. If your thoughts are still captive to fear, doubt, shame, or failure, no amount of progress outside will bring the transformation you need. You could be in a new place physically and still lose because your mind never left the old place. You could gain access to a new season and still sabotage it with old thinking. That's why the greatest battle for your victory this month won't happen around you. It will happen within you. Until you see yourself as victorious, you'll keep disqualifying yourself from the promises that were already written with your name on them. You'll shrink in rooms you were born to stand in. You'll reject blessings because you think you're not worthy. You'll call yourself realistic, when in fact you're just rehearsing your fears. But I came to tell you that your mind is the soil where victory is either planted or poisoned, and this month your soil must be ready. You can't allow the weeds of yesterday's failure or trauma to choke out the seeds of today's breakthrough. If your thoughts remain in bondage, your life will remain stuck, even if the opportunity shows up. This is the month you stop asking for change and start thinking like change. You stop looking for victory like it's somewhere outside you and start realizing it's something that begins inside you. The word says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That's not poetry, that's principle. You are not what you wear, what you drive, or what you've done. You are what you meditate on. You are what you consistently say to yourself. You are what you believe when no one's watching. If you think small, you'll move small. If you think defeated, you'll speak defeated. But if you begin to see yourself as victorious, everything around you starts to shift to match that belief. Victory is not a performance, it's a posture. It's a settled confidence that says, even if I don't feel it yet, I know it's mine. It's a mindset that wakes up in the morning and says, this is the day things begin to turn. It's the decision to stop repeating the cycle of self-sabotage and start renewing your mind with truth. This month, you cannot afford to entertain every thought. You cannot allow fear to live rent-free in your head. You must become aggressive about your mental territory because your future depends on it. You have to catch yourself when your thoughts drift into old patterns. When you start to say, it never works out for me, stop. That's not your voice. That's the voice of past pain trying to rob you of present power. When you think, maybe I'm not qualified, stop. That's not your calling speaking. That's insecurity rooted in comparison. When you hear, this is just how things are, reject it. That's not truth. That's complacency dressed up as maturity. Don't let old narratives play on repeat while God is trying to write a new story in your life. Victory thinking says, I may have been overlooked, but I'm not invisible. It says, I may have been broken, but I'm not useless. It says, this is not how my story ends. It says, there is more in me than what I've seen. It says, I'm called, I'm chosen, I'm equipped, and I'm ready. This kind of mindset doesn't wait for applause or evidence. It moves because it knows. It speaks because it's convicted. It walks forward because it trusts the one who gave the promise. You must understand the mind is a battlefield, but it is also your gateway. The gates you open in your mind will determine what flows into your life. If you open the gate of fear, worry will flood you. If you open the gate of faith, favor will find you. If you entertain thoughts of defeat, life will echo it. But if you lock into thoughts of victory, breakthrough will begin to chase you down. It's not magic. It's alignment. The enemy doesn't need to destroy your house if he can destroy your hope. He doesn't need to block your opportunity if he can bind your thinking. Because if he can get you to believe you're not enough, you'll never take the first step. But not this month. This month you rise. This month you think higher. This month you filter every thought through your identity, not your insecurity. Let your thinking become prophetic. Speak like you already have what you prayed for. Dream like the ceiling has already shattered. Walk like the chains are already broken. This month, you don't think based on what you see. You think based on what you know. And what you know is this: victory is not coming, it has already started, and it's starting with you, right now, right here in your mind. There are moments in life when it feels like time is slipping through your fingers. When the dreams you carried with confidence begin to feel distant, fragile, or even foolish. You start to wonder if maybe you misheard God, misunderstood the vision, or missed the opportunity altogether. Doors remain closed, prayers seem unanswered, days stretch into months, and months into years, and you begin to question the promise. But hear this clearly: delay is not denial. What looks like a pause is often a divine setup. What feels like stagnation is actually preparation in disguise. Heaven is never late, though it may not always move on your schedule. That's why trust must run deeper than timing, because what you call waiting, heaven calls building. And while you're wondering why the door hasn't opened, God is making sure that when it does, it won't crush you. That's the mercy in the delay. God is more committed to your character than your convenience. He's more concerned with making you ready than making you comfortable. Some blessings are too heavy to carry until your roots go deep enough to hold them. This month you need to know that nothing has been wasted. Not the pain, not the silence, not the confusion. All of it was part of the setup. There are seasons where God will let you walk through the wilderness so that you come out not just grateful, but grounded. Because unprocessed pain becomes pride and untested vision becomes illusion, delay humbles you, it purifies your motives, it burns away the arrogance of self-reliance and forces you to lean into divine timing. If everything happened when you wanted, you'd give credit to your own strategy. But when it happens after delay, you'll know it was never you. It was always grace. Every great purpose requires a process. Joseph had a dream at 17 but didn't reach the palace until 30. David was anointed king as a teenager but spent years running from Saul. Jesus spent 30 years in obscurity for a 3-year public ministry. Delay is not the enemy. Delay is often the evidence that something weighty is on the way. God doesn't delay small things. He delays what requires deep preparation. If you've been delayed, it means something significant is attached to your life. But here's the key: while you wait, don't wither. While you wait, don't become cynical. While you wait, don't settle for maybe it's not for me. Keep building, keep believing, keep sowing, keep sharpening your skills. Because when the moment comes, it will move quickly. The same God who delayed it will accelerate it. One day of divine favor can shift what 10 years of effort couldn't. One yes can redeem all the no's. But you have to stay ready so you don't miss it when it finally shows up. There are blessings reserved for people who endure the delay without losing their expectation. This is the kind of expectation that doesn't depend on external encouragement. It's the kind that says, even if I can't see it, I still know it's coming. It's the fire inside that refuses to die even when the evidence seems to disagree. You have to protect that kind of faith in delay, because delay can make you bitter if you're not careful. It can make you compare your path to others. It can tempt you to take shortcuts, but every time you trust the delay, you choose destiny over distraction. Don't resent the season where it looks like nothing is happening. That's where the foundation is being laid. You don't build a skyscraper overnight. The deeper the calling, the longer the digging, and people may look at your life and wonder, why hasn't it happened for them yet? But what they don't see is the structure being built beneath the surface. When your time comes, the glory will not be shallow. It will be sustainable. Because you didn't rush the process, you respected it. This month, don't mistake divine timing for divine silence. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not happening. It means God is still arranging the details. He's still positioning the right people. He's still clearing out distractions. He's still working on your heart. You don't want premature promotion. You don't want blessing that your character can't handle. You don't want influence that your discipline can't support. The wait is grace. The delay is protection. Even now, the things you thought were forgotten are being remembered. The doors you thought were closed for good are swinging open behind the scenes. The people who rejected you are being replaced by those assigned to your destiny. The no's that broke your heart were saving your future, and the tears you cried in frustration were watering the seeds of greatness. So lift your head, straighten your back, speak life again, dream again, plan again, expect again, because this is the month where delay gives way to movement. Not because you earned it, but because you endured it. You stayed when it didn't make sense. You prayed when no one applauded. You believed when nothing changed, and now the setup is complete. You didn't miss it. You're right on time. Words are not just sound. They are not random expressions that vanish into the air. Your words are containers, carriers of life or death, progress or paralysis, breakthrough or breakdown. Every time you open your mouth, you are either planting seeds of victory or digging trenches of defeat. And until you understand the power of your voice, you will continue to build a life that contradicts your destiny. This month is not waiting on your situation to change. It's waiting on your language to align. You can't keep asking for victory while speaking like a victim. You can't declare that this is your season and then undercut yourself with statements like, "I'm not sure I'm ready," or "it probably won't work out." Heaven responds to faith, not fear. And your words reveal which one is in charge. What you repeatedly say becomes what you unconsciously believe, and what you believe becomes what you create. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you speak with conviction. Many people don't miss their destiny because of the devil. They miss it because of their own mouth. They abort purpose with their own tongue. They curse what God has blessed because they haven't trained themselves to speak life in the face of contradiction. But victory doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. It responds to those who speak from a place of authority, the ones who say, "It may not look like it yet, but I'm walking in it anyway." That kind of language shifts atmospheres. It breaks cycles. It activates heaven's resources. You cannot afford to be casual with your words this month. Life and death are not in the economy, the government, or your circumstances. They are in your mouth. Every declaration you make is either opening doors or closing them. If you say you're stuck, you are. If you say you're finished, you will be. If you say you're blessed, provision begins to move. If you say you're chosen, favor starts to find you. This is not emotional hype. This is spiritual law. Some of you are frustrated not because the promise hasn't come, but because your speech has delayed it. You keep calling yourself tired, unqualified, behind. You keep reinforcing pain instead of prophesying purpose. You rehearse rejection instead of declaring restoration. You echo insecurity instead of speaking identity. But the mouth of a king is not for complaining, it's for commanding. And whether you feel like it or not, you are royalty. Your voice carries weight. When you speak, something shifts. When you speak in alignment with heaven, the earth has to respond. But if your mouth is out of order, your life will be too. You can't speak defeat and expect to live in dominion. You can't speak like a slave and walk like a son. You must train your tongue to speak the language of where you're going, not where you've been. This month, your words must graduate. They must mature. They must carry the tone of someone who knows they've already won. Victory begins with vocabulary. It begins with a choice to silence the inner critic and release the inner conqueror. You must speak what you want to see, even if nothing around you looks like it yet. Faith doesn't wait for proof. Faith produces proof. That's why you speak healing while you're still hurting. You speak open doors while the hallway is dark. You speak abundance while your account says otherwise. Your words are not reaction. They are creation. Everything God ever made, He made with words. He didn't form the universe with His hands. He formed it with His mouth. And you were made in His image. That means your voice has creative capacity. You are never just talking. You are either building or breaking. You are either loosing heaven's will or locking it up. This month, speak on purpose. Speak with precision. Speak with clarity. Don't let sarcasm, negativity, or fear masquerade as personality. There is no room for casual speech in a critical season. Even in silence, your words are forming. Your inner dialogue, the conversation you have with yourself when no one else is around, that's where the real war happens. You can't speak faith publicly and rehearse failure privately. You can't prophesy to others and poison your own process with internal doubt. It's time to come into agreement with the promise, not the problem. Victory is voice activated. You need to declare over your life daily, I am who God says I am. I have what He says I have. I can do what He says I can do. I am not late. I am not lacking. I am not losing. I am aligned. I am prepared. I am chosen. I am rising. Speak it when you wake up. Speak it when you're tired. Speak it until your spirit believes it. Because eventually your life will rise to the level of your language. This month, the way you speak will determine the way you move. If you talk like it's already done, you'll walk like it's already yours. If you speak from victory, you'll stop fighting for approval and start operating from authority. And when your words shift, everything else follows. Your posture, your decisions, your doors, your destiny. You don't have to wait for the situation to change. You can change what you say, and the situation will follow. Speak like the promise is real. Speak like the outcome is secure. Speak like you're already living in the answer to a prayer you haven't even prayed yet. Because your mouth is not just a mirror of your reality, it's the engine of your future. You cannot walk in victory while still entertaining environments that are designed to keep you small. Some of the delay in your life is not demonic, it's environmental. You can have vision, faith, even favor, but if you're planted in the wrong soil, you will remain stunted. You cannot flourish in places that do not nourish your purpose. You cannot rise while staying loyal to what God told you to leave. This month, your victory will require separation, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment, not because you're better than anyone, but because you're called to something greater. There is a reason God is pulling you away from certain people, places, and patterns. Some connections were only meant for a season, not a lifetime. Some circles were meant to be a launching pad, not a resting place. The same voices that comforted you in the last season may become chains in the next. If you're not careful, you'll be so loyal to where you were that you'll betray where you're going, and heaven won't bless you to fit in. It will bless you to stand out. You must understand that destiny is costly. Not everyone can go where you're going. Not everyone can carry what you carry. Some people will love the old version of you but resent the one that's evolving. They'll celebrate you as long as you stay familiar, but become uncomfortable the moment you shift. That's why growth often comes with grief. You will have to release comfort in order to receive clarity. You will have to exit some rooms so you can enter your promise. This month, your environment must match your assignment. You cannot walk like a king while living in a cage, and many of you have outgrown the space you're in, but fear has kept you from moving. You've adjusted to dysfunction. You've normalized dishonor. You've made peace with people who silently resent your elevation. But what you tolerate will eventually train you. If you keep staying in small places, your mind will shrink to survive there, and you were never meant to survive. You were meant to multiply. Victory demands courage. Not just the courage to fight enemies, but the courage to walk away from familiarity. Abraham had to leave his country. Ruth had to leave her people. Esther had to leave her silence. Jesus had to leave the crowd. Every major move of God in your life will require you to disconnect from something you once depended on. But what you're leaving behind is nothing compared to what's ahead. If you stay where you were, you'll miss what God is doing now. This month is about alignment. You must evaluate your space, your circle, your habits, and your conversations. Ask yourself, does this align with who I'm becoming? Does this relationship reinforce my growth or drain my focus? Does this habit feed my calling or sabotage it? Because your environment is not neutral. It's either empowering you or eroding you. Some atmospheres are saturated with fear, comparison, gossip, and spiritual apathy. And if you stay long enough, you'll start calling that normal. But you weren't born to blend in with normal, you were born to disrupt it. God will often disturb your comfort to reveal your calling. He will shake up your surroundings so you stop settling. He will allow the familiar to dry up so that you are forced to move in faith. If the brook never dried up, Elijah would have stayed in a place that no longer served his assignment. Sometimes the discomfort is divine. It's a sign that something new is trying to emerge. You don't need a sign to leave what no longer has your name on it. You need obedience. Do not confuse connection with covenant. Just because someone has access to you doesn't mean they're assigned to you. Just because you share history doesn't mean you share destiny. And just because they were part of your development doesn't mean they're part of your deployment. There are some people who are essential in your formation, but dangerous in your elevation, and until you recognize that, you'll keep dragging dead weight into a living future. Your destiny is too valuable to be compromised by misplaced loyalty. This doesn't mean you become bitter or cold. It means you become wise. It means you guard your space like it's sacred because it is. You can't afford to let just anyone speak into your spirit. You can't afford to surround yourself with people who only see your past. You need people who speak to your future, people who sharpen your vision, people who call you higher, not flatter your dysfunction. This month, heaven is positioning you for movement, and that means some doors will close. Some conversations will end. Some invitations won't be extended. Let them go, let it shift, let it break if it has to, because what God is calling you into cannot be accessed with the baggage of the last season. You must travel light, you must walk free, and you must choose purpose over comfort. Every time, the places you stay connected to will shape your capacity. If you stay in circles that fear growth, you'll start to question your own desire to rise. But if you surround yourself with vision, purpose, and prophetic clarity, your spirit will start to expand. You'll start to dream bigger, move faster, believe bolder, and that's when victory begins to multiply. Not just as an event, but as a lifestyle. Your environment must reflect your destiny, because where you're planted determines what grows, and this month only victory can be allowed to grow. Victory begins in the mind. Not in your hands, not in your bank account, not even in your circumstances, but in your thoughts. Until your thinking shifts, your life cannot shift. You can attend every service, receive every prophecy, fast for 40 days, and still live in cycles if your mindset hasn't been renewed. Because transformation doesn't start with the external, it starts with the internal. It starts when you make a decision to think like who you're becoming, not who you've been. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not so he becomes, but so he is. That means your thoughts are not suggestions, they're blueprints. What you meditate on, you manifest. What you rehearse, you recreate. And some of you have been building a prison in your mind using the bricks of past failure, fear, rejection, and shame. But this month that cycle breaks, not because you feel stronger, but because you finally think differently. You are not defeated. You've just been thinking defeated. You are not disqualified. You've just been entertaining lies. But the truth is, God never designed you to be average. You were wired for dominion, shaped for victory, and crowned with authority. The enemy is not fighting your hands. He's after your head. If he can control your perspective, he can manipulate your potential. If he can trap you in the wrong thought patterns, he doesn't need to stop your progress. He just needs to make sure you sabotage it yourself. That's why the battlefield is always in the mind. That's why the war isn't always visible. It's internal. You look stable, but the real struggle is behind your eyes. You dress in excellence, but silently wrestle with anxiety, insecurity, and unworthiness. You pray for breakthrough, but privately battle thoughts that tell you it's too late, too hard, too far gone. But the truth is, no external change can sustain itself without an internal shift. Until you change how you see yourself, nothing around you will change, and God is not waiting for your circumstances to align. He's waiting for your thoughts to agree. You can't walk in authority while thinking like a victim. You can't speak with boldness while meditating on fear. You can't claim victory while imagining defeat. Your life is a reflection of what you've permitted to take root in your imagination. If you don't take your thoughts captive, they will take you captive. You cannot afford to let your mind wander unchecked this month. Every thought is a seed. If it stays long enough, it becomes a belief. If it grows long enough, it becomes a behavior. That's why the most dangerous attacks don't come from the outside. They come from the quiet, unchecked whispers on the inside. You'll never make it. No one sees you. You missed your moment. You're not as anointed as they are. That wasn't really God. You failed before, you'll fail again. These are not harmless thoughts. They are spiritual assignments sent to keep you in bondage. But you have authority. You are not a slave to your thoughts. You have the mind of Christ, and with that comes access to divine strategy, creative solutions, prophetic perspective, and spiritual clarity. You don't have to beg for it. You just have to believe it and begin to use it. When the wrong thought rises, don't negotiate, cast it down. When fear tries to set up camp in your imagination, don't entertain it, evict it. When shame tries to remind you of who you were, declare who you are now. You are not the voice of your trauma. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are who God says you are, nothing more, nothing less. The most powerful people on earth are not the loudest. They are the clearest. They don't just have a big vision. They have a renewed mind. They don't just dream big. They think disciplined. They protect their thought life like a battlefield, because they know it determines every outcome. You must learn to filter your mind like you filter your feed. You must train your mind to reject the lies of the enemy the moment they knock. You must meditate on truth until it rewires the deepest places inside you. Victory doesn't start when your problems disappear. It starts when your mind stops bowing to them. It starts when you decide to think like you're already free, already whole, already rising. It starts when you wake up in the morning and choose truth over feelings, faith over fear, progress over paralysis. This is not about hype, it's about mental discipline. It's about deciding that peace is non-negotiable. That clarity is your responsibility, that your thoughts will not be borrowed from culture or your past, but rooted in the Word of God and the promise over your life. Some of you have been waiting for a sign, but the real shift will happen when you take dominion over your mind. Your future is not blocked. It's buried under patterns you've refused to confront. But this is the month you break them. This is the month you uproot every thought that doesn't align with your next season. This is the month you stop overthinking and start renewing. Stop rehearsing old pain and start imagining new power. Stop building rooms for fear and start constructing strongholds of faith. Because your mind was not designed for fear. It was designed for vision. It was designed to carry the weight of heaven's dream for your life. It was designed to host the ideas of eternity. And when you think from that place, when you think with the mind of Christ, when you let truth lead the way, there is nothing on this earth that can stop you from walking in victory. Every victory begins with a decision. A moment where you stop waiting, stop wondering, and step into full agreement with what heaven already declared over your life. Victory doesn't wait for the perfect timing or a smooth road. It answers to resolve. It responds to someone who refuses to live another day beneath their inheritance. The ones who walk in power are not the ones who never failed, but the ones who stopped allowing failure to define them. You don't need another confirmation, another person to believe in you, or another opportunity to arise. You need to decide that you are done playing small, done shrinking, done delaying what has already been settled in the spirit. The breakthrough you're looking for isn't always in another door, it's in a decision. And until you decide that enough is enough, you will keep cycling through delay disguised as comfort. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. He doesn't have to stop you. He just needs to keep you indecisive. But there comes a moment where you silence the noise and choose to walk in the authority already given to you. This is that moment. This is the month that demands your decision. The atmosphere around you is pregnant with possibility, but nothing happens until there is movement. Prophetic words don't manifest without agreement. The power is not just in hearing them, it's in responding to them. God has already said yes. Heaven is not holding back. The resistance is not in the heavens. It's in the hesitation. Too many have been waiting for conditions to be perfect, for fear to disappear, for people to applaud them before they move. But faith doesn't wait for applause. It walks in obedience when no one is watching. Victory starts when you decide to act, despite the fear, despite the unknown, despite the what-ifs. There is a version of you that is bold, clear, focused, disciplined, and unstoppable. That version isn't a fantasy, it's your birthright. But you will never meet that version by chance. You meet them by choice, by choosing to show up differently, by choosing to speak differently, by choosing to respond to life as someone who has already won, not as someone trying to survive. You are not becoming victorious. You are enforcing the victory already secured through Christ, and that enforcement begins with a decision. The most dangerous thing you can do in this season is delay. Delay looks harmless, but it's deadly. Delay is where purpose goes numb. Delay is where ideas die. Delay is where faith weakens, not because the promise changed, but because the person stopped believing they were the one to carry it. But you're still chosen. You're still marked. You're still anointed. The delays you've experienced may have shaken your hope, but they haven't removed your assignment. You still have breath. And that breath is proof that purpose is still active in you. You don't need another open door. You need a decisive step. Some doors don't swing open until your foot hits the floor. The way won't be clear until your decision is firm. God doesn't reveal the entire picture. He responds to motion. When you start moving, grace starts multiplying. When you start declaring, things start aligning. When you choose to step out of the boat, the water knows it must hold you up. The natural responds to the supernatural decision to move, to rise, to say yes. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until it's easy. Decide now. Decide that your life is not going to look like what you survived. Decide that your story is not going to be defined by what didn't work. Decide that this month you walk in the fullness of everything that's already been given to you. Decide that fear no longer gets to vote, that your past no longer holds the pen, that your environment no longer dictates your standard, that your mind no longer entertains narratives that keep you bound. You've circled this mountain long enough. It's time to go north, and that new direction begins with a decision. There are moments in life where heaven waits for earth to agree. Not just in prayer, but in action, in courage, in resolve. You've prayed, you've fasted, you've heard. Now it's time to move. It's time to put your foot down and declare, this is the month I move forward, no matter what. Not because you see how it ends, but because you trust who called you. The details will come, the help will come, the resources will come, but none of it will arrive until you decide you're not backing down. This is the month where you say yes, not with your lips, but with your life. Not with your feelings, but with your faith. This is where you draw the line in the sand and say, from this day forward, I live like someone who knows they've already won. Not someone hoping, but someone walking. Not someone wishing, but someone warring. Because victory isn't just a word, it's a posture, a stance, a daily rhythm, and it begins the moment you say, I will not return to average. I will not agree with fear. I will not settle for survival. I decide to walk in victory. Because that decision shifts everything. This is the month where everything changes. Not because the calendar shifted, but because you did. Not because life got easier, but because you decided to rise anyway. You are not waiting on a move of God. You are the move. You are not watching history unfold. You are stepping into destiny fulfilled. This is not just another message. It is a summons, a divine interruption. A prophetic awakening to who you really are and what you really carry. You were never called to live average, apologize for your fire, or explain away your authority. You were called to advance, to multiply, to subdue, and to win. Victory doesn't ask for permission. It responds to bold decisions. And this month you've been positioned to break the cycle, shatter the delay, and walk fully in what God already said is yours. This is your time to rise. Not next year, not after another confirmation, not when people approve you. Now, let every lie collapse. Let every fear be silenced. Let every delay be broken. Let every old mindset bow to the power of truth. You don't need more time. You need more clarity, and now that you have it, go. Go without hesitation, go with authority, go in faith, go knowing that all of heaven backs your movement. This is your moment. Your victory starts this month. Don't look back.